Yo, we get ready to hit the road. It's about to be on and popping. From resilience to restoration in the Gulf South, baby.
The sun's gone down, and I'm still waiting, and I'm still waiting. The sun's gone down, and I'm still waiting, and I'm still waiting. The sun's gone down.
The Gulf Coast of the United States includes Florida, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, and Texas. In these states, you'll find key industries like petrochemicals, oil refineries, energy, agriculture, fishing, and tourism. At the same time, this region faces increasing challenges such as climate change, extreme weather, coastal erosion, pollution, and worsening public health risks. Vulnerable communities, particularly Black and brown populations, struggle post-disaster with economic instability and inadequate resources. In some places, the natural resources that were once plentiful are now scarce. Reverend Michael Malcolm, the Executive Director of the People's Justice Council, and his team explore these issues and showcase community leaders addressing economic and racial injustices, food insecurity, and building resilience programs for restoration. We asked each community leader the same questions. What are the challenges faced by their communities? How do we ensure equitable restoration? And what are their hopes for the future of not only their communities, but the Gulf South in the face of ongoing environmental challenges? These are their responses.
I'm Jermaine Richardson. I'm the pastor of Bethel African Methodist Episcopal Church in Ensley, a neighborhood in Birmingham. I'm also the president of BEAT, and I am on the steering committee for Alabama Interfaith Power and Light. The community that I serve as pastor is an aging community and is lower on the socioeconomic level, and so the ability to be able to meet their responsibilities in terms of paying for their utilities is always a challenge. Taking care of members of our congregation, our community who are elderly and are more severely impacted by fluctuations in extreme heat and cold, being on top of their well-being and being able to help them meet their needs has been a challenge for us in our church community.
My name is Father Jose Rodriguez, and I am the rector and vicar of the Episcopal Churches of Christ the King and Jesus de Nazaret in Azalea Park, Florida. Natural disaster has really impacted our community, and we're a convergence of individuals who've been displaced by hurricanes in Puerto Rico to the Orlando area, and also a community that is constantly impacted by weather events, flooding, hurricanes, the displacement of jobs, the displacement of workers, workforce interruptions, and other issues caused by disaster, especially the disasters that we've had over the past 5 years.
Hi, my name is Jan Boer. I work with Unitarian Universalist Justice Florida, heading up their climate resilience ministry, working in community as we've been doing today, hearing from people and seeing what are the ways that we can work together to find solutions to the problems that people are describing. I work with a lot of different communities, and there are some things that are common to all communities, which one of which is lack of resources to deal with the problems that they have.
Hi, my name is LaWanna Gelzer. I always introduce myself as one of the most concerned citizens you'll ever meet. We're still dealing with environmental injustice. That has been our problem, gathering the information, knowing what has happened in the past and how to deal with what's going on.
My name is Mel Caraway. I'm a retired United Methodist pastor here in the North Texas area, and I am the Interfaith Climate Coordinator for Texas Interfaith Power and Light. I think the biggest challenge is that we tend to think of the issue of climate crisis and how we can be resilient in face of it. In terms of it, it's just climate, and it's much more than that. It's a justice issue that transcends not just climate justice, but also racial justice, economic justice. It works across the board.
I'm Bruce Carroll. I am the Southern Regional Director for Green the Church, Louisiana. Some of the challenge that we face is getting the information out, getting the information to us, and then also having the resources to deal with different things that happen in our community. Getting the resources, having access to the resources.
My name is Pastor Michael Faget. I am the senior pastor here at the St. Rest Baptist Church in Shreveport, Louisiana. We're living in a food desert here in the Allendale community. There is not a grocery store or really a serviceable food market within a 5-mile radius, which impacts our environment, impacts our culture, impacts our community.
My name is Reverend Sonia Lars. I am the pastor here at Newman United Methodist Church in Alexandria, Louisiana. As far as our state goes, we feel like we're always bouncing back from storms. We have a lot of plants in our state as well, which also gives us reasons to be concerned about our waterways. Trying to find a nice way to put that.
My name's Leah Campbell. I am the founding president of Mississippi Rising Coalition and also work as an organizer with the coalition.
My name is Morris Mock. I'm a worker organizer, and I'm also with the Mississippi Rising Coalition.
Mississippi has so many issues related to environmental injustice, and it's all tied to the system of extractive racial capitalism, from the food system, which is really centered around big agriculture in the Mississippi Delta, which rapes the land, the most fertile land in the world, with harmful petrochemical fertilizers for the sake of mass production of crops and for profit, to how Mississippians get our energy. We are home to the second largest utility provider in the nation in Southern Company, which is the parent company of Mississippi Power. They're also a very extractive industry that pollute the predominantly poor Black and brown communities in Mississippi to sell energy for profit. Then we have to look at mass incarceration as an extractive industry. There's just on so many levels, there's so many systems of oppression and extractive industry that impact Black and brown communities and poor communities in Mississippi. It's a lot to answer in one question.
I definitely agree with what Leah's saying. It's the systemic system that has been plaguing Mississippi forever. When it comes to the slaves coming out on a slave ship, to workers' rights, Mississippi, they don't care about Black people, period. I mean, the systemic system has, the injection, the poisoning of the water, the flooding, it's apartheid. Mm-hmm. And I think that is something that we definitely need to hold politicians accountable for. And that's one of the number one reasons why we do the work that we're doing. Accountability. And we know because of apartheid, we understand that there's something that created this situation that we're in. And it's our job to fight that system.
Mm-hmm.
Father, how do you think the communities you can serve or that you serve can balance the need for economic development with the needs of environmental protection and sustainability?
Well, in terms of economic development, a lot of the new opportunities that are being made available to homeowners and individual citizens are not yet readily available to the community I serve. Often our communities look at a trickle-down model of assistance or help. Sadly, I don't think that trickle-down works. So we need to go from a grassroots effort. We need to go down to the soil. We need to go down to those individuals who are closest to our communities and see what sprouts up. So if we start from a truly democratic position and helping people, that's going to be the most equitable. We're meeting with people who rent. We're meeting with people who move from home to home. We're meeting with the individuals that have the most instability and vulnerabilities in their life. And their solutions are going to be solutions that are going to be more universal in reach. Because if we're able to serve the least of these well, we'll definitely be able to serve those who are better resourced or have more opportunities available to them.
We've got to do something. As community, we have to come together. As community, we have to fight collectively.
Some of the things that we really need to work on, and we do work on in a lot of communities, is being able to help people get connected through technology. It's a triumph to move somebody from a landline onto a cell phone. It's a triumph to move somebody to understand that they have to actually leave their cell phone on if they want to receive notifications, and to be able to get them to use apps and to be able to participate in ways that they can get information that keeps them safe. So that's one of the kinds of problems and one of the challenges. And another one of the challenges is really working to heal whatever is broken in a community.
One of the major concerns that I have concerning equitability is the fact that options for renewable energy are often squashed in their infancy in this area. We are fully dependent upon the electricity that's provided by the major electric provider and gas, and any attempt to find some other way of generating power, particularly for those in low-income areas, are seemingly eliminated even before they can be investigated. I think it's of great urgency to have particularly the faith community come together and be able to say to those who are making the determination of what access we have to renewable energy, that it is a financial, economic, and community response to be able to give people access to greater options than what is just available now.
There are many different aspects of equity, inclusion, access that are very complicated and involve many people. And in order for us to be able to make these equitable, we have to reach out to many, many different groups to participate in creating a solution. Because only the people who are experiencing those inequities truly understand the obstacles that they face. And we must try to get them to the table to be able to talk and describe the solutions and actually bring other people to the table who really need to listen to them.
One of the things that can be done to make sure that restoration is equitable is, number one, listening to the community. Because most of the time, professionals in this space have really great ideas, but those ideas may not be what the community needs at that time. So how are you going to honestly go in and assist with restoring something that you don't understand how it got there to begin with? So you have to listen to the community members, and then you're going to pair that with the scientific knowledge that we're able to gain, and then you're going to pair that with the professional ideas. And so once you put those three things together, you're going to come up with something that's going to be really impactful to the community.
Hey, we're in the Gulf South. We're right now in Orlando, Florida, getting ready to head down a little bit and go and be with a couple of communities. I am looking forward to this tour stop. I'm looking forward to meeting with communities that we've been speaking with, as well as being able to move into a phase of implementation and really looking at how do we get the implementation resource for the resiliency and restoration plans that these communities have come up with. We've had assistance through the National Academy of Sciences, and we want to continue in getting assistance so that we can now resource. We found out what they needed. Now it's time to resource what they need. And so we'll get ready to go and meet with them. You all are coming with us. It is a powerful thing, and I'm looking forward to being with you all and journeying with you all as we meet with the people.
Florida is often associated with tropical weather and beautiful beaches, but it is also highly hurricane-prone, leading to widespread destruction and economic losses. Additionally, the state faces intense heat waves worsened by climate change, which pose health risks to vulnerable populations and increase energy demand, straining power grids and raising utility costs.
Your destination is on the right.
We want to make sure we're centering the community as impacted, so we want to focus and let those be our main characters. Right over here, we've got a good spot to put like a charging station, cooling station right here. But also he wanted to see about turning this into outreach, being able to like do feeding and stuff like that for resiliency in this area. And then he wanted to do solar everywhere.
This neighborhood, almost immediately from being built, was in a place of intersection. This church has cultural resiliency, which has allowed it to survive when other churches have closed down. Are the Episcopal Church and the Methodist Church. We have very similar ethos, and we adapted to the cultures. We've brought our neighbors in, whereas the other denominations kind of stayed insular and eventually shut down and were displaced themselves. Hallmarks of the history of this church is this church was allowing Black preachers to come in and preach at the pulpit when Orlando was still segregated. And this church also actively worked with another Episcopal church, Emmanuel, to welcome in the children from Peter Pan, Operation Peter Pan. First, the church worked to help displaced Cuban migrant families, and then afterwards, the church actually owned 2 housing units that it used to house families being reunified after Operation Peter Pan, bringing the parents in to get reacclimated to being with their children and living in the space.
The people in our surrounding communities, you know, there's alternatives being offered, but those alternatives are really made available to homeowners, and they have yet to trickle down to individuals who couch surf, individuals who rent, individuals who move from place to place. So many of my members are renters who, if they're able to buy an electric vehicle, they're not readily able to have a charging station because they live in an apartment or a condo. Or if they have high power bills, you know, it's not a choice for them to put solar panels on a home they do not own. For me as a pastor, I'm really looking to find solutions for all my members, from those that own their own homes to those that rent, to those that don't have a stable home to call their own.
Hey y'all, I'm Michael Malcolm. I am the founder and executive director of the People's Justice Council. I'm also the executive director of Alabama Interfaith Power and Light. A lot of folks call me Rev, and some people just call me Michael, but you all feel free to just call me as long as you do call me here. I want to thank you, one, for being here, because I understand the importance of community. And community coming together and working together to solve the issues that ill our communities. And on that behalf is why we started From Resilience to Restoration. We look at it out of 3 different categories. It's the ecological restoration, then it's the economical restoration, and then the ecumenical restoration. Let me break that down so you all aren't necessarily lost by that. So when we look at the ecological restoration, that's speaking about the environment. I know
from spending time with Miss Luana last time I was here, but also hearing Jan. Florida got some issues. And I ain't just talking about Ron DeSantis. I'm talking about the environment and how the environment is actually attacking community, but it's driven by something. It's driven by something. It didn't get this bad overnight. It's been happening for a while. And here's the issue. The issue is our communities, when I say our, I mean Black, brown, and indigenous communities, communities that look like you and I, aren't necessarily protected when it comes down to disaster. And not only disaster, but disaster recovery and relief. It's not equitable, believe it or not. It's not equitable at all. What we're trying to do is kind of right that ship a little bit. See if we can't get resources, and you all doing your resiliency plans and your restoration plans, we want to now start moving into some implementation and see if we can get monies and resources, help to be able to put those plans in place. And so that's why we come back. We're doing a documentary so that we can record this. We want to send this to every government official that we're in contact with, that we're connected with, so they can see what's happening not only in Orlando, not only in Florida, but throughout the Gulf South, because the Gulf South is definitely in trouble. And the decisions that are being made right now are determining that we are not getting out of this anytime soon. And we won't get out of it unscathed. So we've got to do something. As community, we have to come together. As community, we have to fight collectively. That brings us to the economical. It's going to take resources. But then it also takes us to this ecumenical piece. The ecumenical restoration looks at how do we remain community or even reestablish community, in particular after disasters, in particular after you've had to endure trauma for generations.
I am Janice Lucas, the Panama City Commissioner for Ward 2 and Executive Director of the LEAD Coalition of Bay County. We're here at the House of Hope, which is in the heart of the historic African-American community called Glenwood. We also have a neighboring community adjacent to Glenwood called Millville. And since, the changes that have taken place throughout the South and in America from the 40s, 50s, 60s, and forward, this community, these neighborhoods have proven to be quite resilient.
So we came into this building, there was nothing but these brick walls. So there's no roof or nothing. We built this building off of grouper. Wow. My husband, we sold fish.
Wow.
It's the truth. This is how we built the building.
And built this building off of that. Mm-hmm. Wow.
Old school. You'd be surprised if you saw what this building looked like when we came here. All this, even that was donated.
Was this an old bank?
It was old Lutheran church.
It was old Lutheran.
It was old Lutheran church. The architect of it, those circles they already had. It was like they used to do a daycare in here. A sanctuary.
Okay. Nice.
Look, we just country folks, man. Nothing fancy, fabulous. God gave us 2 fish and 5 loaves of bread, and we're working with it.
It looked like y'all working that.
We started out with a van on going to 10 Court, picking up people. We had 15.
Hi, my name is Dr. Tammy Anderson. I am the pastor of the House of Hope Outreach Ministry here in Panama City, Florida. When I think of environmental resiliency, I'm thinking of the fact that how we have experienced Hurricane Michael here in Bay County, Florida in 2018. And since that time, it appears as though we are still on the upward rise to try to regroup as a community for the losses that took place. Also the mental impact that it had post-traumatic on most of the community people, and as well as the financial setback that it had with those who lost homes and are still displaced at this time. And due to those different entities and issues, we are still rebuilding, and the resilience part of it is coming together mind-wise in a mindset to work together to make the difference and to rebuild Bay County.
My name is Donna Pilson. I am the Executive Director of Rebuild Bay County. We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization that serves as Bay County's long-term disaster recovery organization. The fact that we have strong houses of worship is definitely a plus. As a community and as organizations and entities that hold resources or can access resources, we need to be able to, the fact that we should recognize those houses of worship as facilities that are known and trusted, and being able to engage with those houses of worship, like the House of Hope here. We've made partnerships with other houses of worship that, by engaging them, and they're already familiar, the community is already familiar with them, I think we can distribute resources equitably and faster because they're already in the community.
So all this is free clothing. It's going to be here. It's going to be closed off. And so people can come through this door, and we'll roll that up, bring clothing, but it's going to be in everything circular, hanging up, whatever. And this is going to be where we do community forums, where we come in here. Also, if there is like hurricanes coming somewhere and people need a place, a refuge, they can come here. We want to be able to give out boxes to give people like flashlights and batteries and, all kinds of things, water and things that they're going to need, some supplies, some toiletries and things. They can come get a huge box for the family. And we also want to have some generators. So that is our goal as far as this building is concerned. But also, we just want to have those conversations when they were talking about being an advocate, being informant, to let people know what's available in the community, resources that are available. This will be a place where we can have like town forums to educate people, to make people aware of what is available in our community. So it's going to be called the Flores Pyramid Community Life Building. So a lot of community activities, tutoring, making sure that we have mental health for our youth in our community, and free mental health. So everything in here pretty much is, and throughout the week is whatever we do free to the community.
My name is Overseer Phyllis Greer, born and raised here in Panama City, Florida, by way of Lynn Haven. I think one of the things that we must consider is the allocation. And when things are allocated, they must be accounted for. It is important that we continuously look at what we've offered, measure it, and revisit its ability to meet the needs of the people.
And I've heard some of my other peers share about advocacy, but I also think about collaboration. And as a pastor, I work with Pastors United here in Bay County. So we're trying to work together so that it is very diverse. And so therefore the diversity of it brings the equality or the within the community, whereas everybody will have the same information and will be able to be aware of resources that we do have available within the community. Making sure that not only that people are aware of the resources, but they're knowledgeable on how to attain these resources. And making sure that funding is like an even keel, like it's, it's all across the community and not in just one area, but everybody's afforded the opportunity to receive funding.
Alabama, known for its diverse landscapes and cultural heritage, faces challenges from extreme climate events, pollution, and water contamination, all impacting the environment, economy, and public health. Industrial facilities contribute to air and water pollution, posing health risks to nearby communities. Additionally, aging water infrastructure leads to leaks and contamination, compromising drinking water and increasing health risks for residents.
We're gonna do this last song, and then you don't have to give them scholarships. I need the scholarship, lady.
My name is Tiara Dorsey, and I am the Executive Director of Bethel Ansley Action Task Incorporated, also known as BEAT. The housing stock, especially in this area of Birmingham, is actually pretty old. So that means that you're going to have windows that need to be replaced, you're going to have air that's escaping, and that means that when a person is running their heating units or their any type of HVAC system that they're going to be running, it's going to have to work a lot harder in order to be able to keep that residence warmer or cooler. So with that being said, that means that person is going to have an extremely expensive power bill, and that's going to eat into basically their monthly budget. So one of the challenges that we face is how do we mitigate that? How do we help those folks who may be renters instead of homeowners, or homeowners who are now who have retired and they have even less money than they did when they were working? How do we try to redirect some of those funds that they have into the house that needs the work that they live into? So that's our issue. That's one of the issues. One of the other issues as well is, of course, with climate change. We're having hotter days and more unpredictable weather. So you can actually tell when you're driving down the street the difference in really just the ages of the homes. Most of these homes were built in the 1920s through 50s. These are some of the issues that we have ongoing. We can build new homes where there are empty lots, but then you have homes that, we don't own. We don't have any sort of access to those owners, and they're abandoned, being burned down, and that's just more houses that have to be actually torn down. You can kind of tell the homes that we keep up, and the rest are going to be homes that homeowners are actually purchasing.
Is that little commercial space there still on the radar?
That is there. When I tell you, there's a lot of stuff on the radar right now. My thought process is just really solidifying partnerships that are going to bring acquisition money to the table in ways that make sense for the community. As we come down this street, this is Avenue D, this is the main street that we've done the bulk of the building in Ansley on. And you can see it's tree lined, it's, everybody watches out for each other, that kind of thing. This is where the most of the rental properties that we own are going to be, so we help take care of those, and again, make sure that the folks that live in them have basically safe, affordable housing. The challenges of building, we started this one on January 9th. The foundation was actually started right here. We had to push it back 10 feet because even though we were correct in our building, the neighbors complained, saying that they didn't think it was pretty to have a house that far up. Oh, wow. So that cost us $2,500 to push it back, and it also cost me about 6 weeks of construction time. So that meant I had to start that one. Yeah. And so that's why that's over there. Now the issue is getting reimbursed on a timely basis, which is why we didn't start this one until March. Okay. And when we started this one in March, what ended up happening was I've had delay after delay after delay. One of the things that I am doing in the housing, which is I'm doing as much efficiency as possible. I'm trying to build as much in as possible. So with that, we did increase our value on the insulation that we used. So that's, we got a thicker value. We got, so it's nicer. It's going to at least help with that. But going forward, because there is the ability, I'm hoping to be able to build about 60 houses in this community. We're not doing anything builder grade. We have upgraded end panels on our cabinets. There's all wood construction there. We of course have a backsplash, granite countertops. You're gonna have stainless steel appliances, and they are energy efficient. And so we are going to provide a refrigerator as well, because unlike other new construction, when a person is buying on the regular market, they may have the money to be able to pay for a refrigerator. Most of our folks, by this being affordable housing, they don't have the money to be able to pay for it. We actually have tiled out hub surrounds. These are upgraded vanities. Again, none of this stuff is builder grade. Yeah. So, the bedrooms are a nice size. I see. So I didn't want you to just basically be able to put a twin size bed in there. Yeah. All of the doors are 36-inch openings. So as well as the hallway. So at some point the homeowner needs wheelchairs or extra assistance, they don't have to worry about that being an obstacle. You get expanded. Mm-hmm. And actually all these are walk-in closets. So we have pretty good space in all of there. And
you know what?
What?
If y'all don't weather seal that, you're doing an injustice to them people. Also put a latch on it.
Okay.
Have your builders to put some weather seal stripping around it.
Okay.
And then put a latch on it so it can close tight. Because over time, those springs get loose.
Okay.
And so it droops.
Okay.
All of that air.
Okay. One of the things that I changed on the design side was to actually add in a pantry, because, you usually, the way they have this space all open like that, you don't have anywhere to put extra canned goods, things like that, if you're not, especially if you need to buy in bulk. So, well, that's the thing. I actually put it here. Yeah, because instead of just doing just a top and a bottom, we actually did the full pantry piece. And usually that's an extra cost that most builders aren't going to do that, especially not in this price point. So that's some of the just extra thinking that went into that. Same thing with the overhang on the granite. It costs a little more money, but you have extra seating over there. So, yeah, so that's where we are. Yeah. So I'm just waiting on my chandeliers.
It was literally just the foundation.
Yeah, I'm just waiting on my chandeliers and stuff. And
framed, all of it was framed. That was it.
But this is the kicker. If everything was as it should be, as far as funding, I would have been done and sold a long time ago.
There's been sold and that one been,
Exactly.
I get it.
So that's my problem. So with this, we're doing some very creative things. All they did, see, this is what I mean, this wasn't here.
This is affordable housing.
Yes. It's affordable.
Is nice.
Yes, that's the point.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. Basically what I wanted was it should rival any of your national big box builders.
Mississippi, with its rich natural resources and geographical features, faces significant challenges related to extreme climate events, extractive energy practices, and water contamination. The state's location along the Gulf Coast makes it susceptible to hurricanes and severe storms. Heavy rainfall associated with storms often leads to flooding, particularly in low-lying areas. Flooding can damage property, disrupt transportation, and pose health risks due to waterborne diseases. Extractive energy practices from oil and gas exploration, fracking, and coal mining are causing air and water pollution, impacting aquatic life and water quality for nearby communities.
Good cow. Two of those plastics. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Really make it a documentary.
All right, where's your stuff?
Already in the car.
Oh. How has it been coordinating the From Resilience to Restoration program?
Been an honor and a pleasure.
Yeah, what are your highs and lows?
Well, the highs are certainly the prospect of at least 6 restoration plans per state. That we are showing practical examples of shifting the focus from resilience, from rolling with the punches, to restoration, stopping pummeling our frontline communities.
What are your lows? You didn't get to the lows.
Oh, well, of course, always wish we could do more. But I'm proud of what we've done, and we're the best part is we ain't stopping here. As you have pointed out, we want our initial restoration partners, whether national, state, or local. This is our first cohort, so even as we are growing, moving to stage 2, growing from resilience to restoration, from the Gulf South to the whole South, we want this first cohort to show the way within the Gulf states and be recruiting and inspiring other partners.
In 800 feet, make a U-turn.
No U-turns. We're going to Cracker Barrel. Okay, you like Cracker Barrel?
I do.
All right. So one of the things that I've noticed is the participation of communities of faith. And hearing from some of the organizations that we work with that aren't necessarily faith-based, but hearing the importance of communities of faith working with these organizations. And looking at you as the coordinator of this project, what has been your experience with communities of faith and the acceptance or the welcoming of communities of faith involvement in this?
Well, first off, it has just reaffirmed our belief that we are spot on with approaching communities of faith first. We're not working solely with communities of faith, of course, but you and I know that communities of faith already are resilience centers and frontline communities. They are already serving that role. We're not telling them anything they don't already know. We just want to help move that focus, as we talked about, from resilience to restoration, so that they can become proactive, get ahead of the game, stop rolling with the punches, and start restoring from our 3E framework. That is ecological restoration, economic restoration, which of course in frontline communities is really elevation, and ecumenical. And we use the term ecumenical in a true interfaith sense, not just a Christian interdenominational sense. But the houses of faith have been amazing. We were blown away that the National Academy loved that approach and has fully supported us every step of this process. And so, yeah, you'll see on these documentaries the shining examples that are mostly houses of faith. But as you say, we don't stop there. We're not limiting it to houses of faith. We've got a very interesting site visit coming up next weekend with an organization called Compassion Ranch that's run by a nonprofit called Life Leaders Institute. My old leadership mentor, Dr. David Dyson, who is now not just rescuing animals, but teaching all sorts of civics concepts. And he's got all these leadership models that include a spiritual component. So his ecumenical is going to look very different than a lot of our House of Faith ecumenical components. But it's another view of restoring people and planet and making sure that people and planet are placed over profit.
So we came to Jackson, Mississippi to be with Mississippi Rising for our From Resilience to Restoration tour. And when we got here last night, it started storming and with some heavy winds. And one of our site visits got hit real bad during that time, and their roof is completely off or peeled back. And inside of the building, it's leaking like crazy.
So they were hoping to, and I'm sure they still are hoping to eventually get solar panels installed on the roof.
Well, all the insulation is down here now, so.
Maybe like 20, like 20 to me. Maybe 30, the whole thing.
So 20 by 20? Think that'll do it? Or
but we need few maybe 3 or 4 cars. 20 by 20.
3 or 4 20 by 20 tarp rack.
What is
I was thinking 5.
Yeah, 5. 5.
5. At least. And you got folks that'll get up there and take it down? I got 2 or 3.
Maybe like 2016 or something.
Okay.
The church took a few years to decide what to do with it because we were currently on state.
Okay.
And there was the idea like there was a chunk of the congregation that just wanted to sell this and use it to renovate our other property. But there was a bigger contingent in the church that saw the potential of this place and what we could do. Mm-hmm.
And the piece that is important if you're not from Jackson is that this road, if you go a block up, you're in Fondren. And Fondren is this little neighborhood. I mean, if you even want to call it a neighborhood, but it's a block of investment in the city, whereas the rest of the city has been divested. And you can see it. It's when y'all leave, you'll see it. It's just a block up. All of a sudden, there's park benches and sidewalks, and the road looks good, and there's stores and business. Whereas
what's the demographics for that area?
Well, that area is more white. All of Jackson is predominantly black.
Yeah.
Basically. Yeah. The further northeast you get, the more white residential you get. And there's been a concerted effort on the business people's part to, they call it like reinvigorating, but it's 100% the little bit of what's the word? Gentrification that we've dealt with in Jackson.
Okay.
A lot of it has just been sort of a holdout. Withholding, which is what you see in bigger cities as the pre-gentrification. Right. And so Fondren is kind of the only part that's really taken hold. I guess, would you agree with that? This part, there's some like reclaiming of areas that were kind of abandoned throughout the majority of Jackson. There are abandoned houses, there's burned down houses, there's vacancies, well, right now, there are lots of power outages, but I live in Jackson, in the heart of Jackson, and we frequently have outages and traffic lights and,
water issues.
Water issues, flooding. Just about every time it rains, it'll flood a little bit and then recede. So I just specifically, though, the part of where we are is crucial. Even though we're like a quarter of a mile from the old church, it's a crucial quarter of a mile because it's where that investment and lack of investment intersect. Does that sound accurate
we're right at
representation?
the edge of that area. Even in the Fondren neighborhood, you can see some houses are more developed and other ones are in disrepair. So yeah, we're right at that where they meet.
Yeah.
So there's a great opportunity to really serve and meet a need in this community,
So
especially with water.
with the gardens, what was your purpose in putting the gardens? What were you trying to answer for? What was the problem that existed, I guess?
We're a food desert. We just officially became a food desert when they closed the grocery store on Northside Drive. If you go up a little bit, Northside Drive had I think it was part of I don't remember the name of the grocery store. It might have been a grocery depot, but it was one of the only fresh market grocery stores in this area. So there's a universally defined food desert here in this location where we are.
Okay.
Due to lack of grocery stores with produce.
So yeah, really just trying to get fresh vegetables, something nutritious to people, as well as allow people to have access to a really nice green space. So we're hoping to develop this area more to where it can have a proper ambulatory, make it more accessible. That was another piece that was really important to the church's vision. So when the church decided to move into this property, developing this for community use and for church use was a big part of that. So this is just like the first phase of kind of what we're trying to do.
Sorry.
Oh, you're good.
Okay.
Yeah, so this center area would be what we would develop as like kind of our initial like intake. This is where we'd have like office hours, like something available for people to call, come up, get help. But this is this sort of central area that was, you can see initially, some sort of office.
Yeah.
But we were hoping to kind of develop accessible bathrooms, accessible showers, maybe some like emergency response shelter in here. This space is still very much up in the air, and I do think this would be a great opportunity for, as we're connecting with community, what do we want this space to be? Because that other large space we do see is like, well, I was saying like a sanctuary, but also like a lecture hall or performance space or something like that. This right now, yeah, we have stuff for our like free market. So as we have produce we can hand out, we can roll up this door, give out water, people can walk around, see if they have anything they need, or we have anything they need, and they can pay what you want, take what you need, sort of situation.
Beautiful.
But, you know, as it stands right now, the buildings are not watertight.
Okay.
So like,
If it rain.
kind of leakage in there, also in the other space. But yeah, that's this giant building. So lots of potential. It's just, you know, kind of a almost hollowed out warehouse, just waiting for us to make decisions about how to use it.
But I was thinking about, you know, the water as well as the disaster recovery and having supplies and whatnot, but not just for UU or not just for you all, but for the whole state.
Well,
and being able to reach out to nonprofits who work in that space to help and partner with you. Hey, we got this space. We need to get it fixed up, but here's a great space for us to be able to house. Because you got doors, people can just pull up and load up their trucks and keep going. And then you can work with FEMA and get funded through FEMA to, you know, for upkeep and helping you to staff and all of this.
Yeah, I think this needs to remain the community resource room.
Mm-hmm. We use this space as a water distribution hub.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Water left over right there.
Well, and we are going to be storing
in the garage door, unloading water.
Right. I mean, the potential for, okay.
kids back.
I'm excited.
You see, let me get you some air conditioning.
Ah.
We're gonna go up to this door right here.
Okay.
Our youth space is our nursery. Here we have our kind of Sunday school for our younger kids. Yeah, so this building was the first building we really developed.
She's still down
For
there.
like
She's coming up here.
weekly consistent use. This is where we have Sunday services. There they are, the board is talking about already how to just make this space, fit a few more people. So I imagine the congregation will be meeting in here for several more years.
Yeah.
Unless, membership just explodes or something.
Which it's gonna do as we grow the resource center.
I agree, yeah. As we're doing real work, that's what draws people in.
Just to the point you were making about us being a hub, we are in these emergencies, like we're kind of actively pursuing that position and being a supportive space for our neighbors.
Good.
We were gonna work with the Rapid Response for Food back in the water crisis, but they ended up finding another church. But we are gonna store some of our disaster prep kits that we make in New Orleans here. And that's gonna, I think, help build our relationship with some of the other groups.
Yeah, so we're bringing a couple box truck loads full of relief and recovery supplies and then disaster preparedness kits. And UU has offered to be the staging location for all of those supplies. So, because it made sense, because we've got the box trucks, they've got the space with the door. It just makes
sense.
And this is a location that
But I was thinking,
desperate need of resources.
I was thinking about our conversation with Sheree yesterday.
Oh, yeah, no, that's what I mean. This is a staging.
Right.
This is going to be a staging location for the entire state with those supplies.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And then also, like you mentioned, both of you mentioned how the history of UU is really to challenge the civil rights and to stand up for racial injustices. And also LGBTQ injustice, because as y'all know, the state's under attack in that way. And so we kind of are an oasis already in that there are not a lot of religious communities that say we'll accept you however you are with all your rainbow and all of as you are, we're accepting. And we're accepting a congregation that's multiracial and diverse. So it sort of seems inevitable almost with the right support that we do foster this position with the nonprofit communities in Jackson, I think. Thank y'all so much for coming to visit.
One more thing, I want to note that they just closed one of the local grocery stores in this area. So it is definitely a food. Y'all said and
Northside Drive.
and also that the water well has been tagged as
Yes. So the well that's in place now is a 900-foot artesian well system. When the water crisis initially happened a couple years ago, has it been a couple years now? A year?
I think it's been a year since the actual crisis.
We knew that given the severity of the problem here in Jackson with the water infrastructure, that the need for a source of clean water is a priority. And we knew that UU has this 900-foot artesian well that's already been dug, but the problem is we don't know, does it work? And if it doesn't work, can it work? So we were able to contact a well engineer and get him to come out and assess the well. And it just so happens that he is the same well technician or engineer that worked on this same well 20 years ago when this was a water bottling factory.
Oh, wow.
So he's extremely familiar with this well, with the electrical system attached to it and how it works. And he is fairly confident that he can replace one of the...
It's the pump.
One of the parts.
Get the water out. It's 900 feet down.
He came out and did a thorough assessment of it and feels fairly confident that he can get it up and running so that it pumps 40 to 50 gallons a minute into that 1,250-gallon storage tank that's in the warehouse space. And the good part about it is already tagged by Mississippi State Department of Health for public consumption. So the minute it's up and running,
we just need the money to get it going and the money to manage it.
Come get water. So that is a source of liquid gold out there.
Louisiana faces significant challenges, especially from extreme weather events and food insecurity. The state is prone to hurricanes and tropical storms that cause severe damage to infrastructure and habitats, often resulting in power outages, flooding, and the displacement of residents. These storms can also destroy crops and livestock, disrupting food production and supply chains. Many residents already experience economic instability, which is worsened by natural disasters, leading to greater dependence on food assistance. In many communities, particularly rural or underserved areas, access to fresh, healthy food is limited. This situation creates food deserts where residents rely on unhealthy options that negatively affect health and nutrition. Contaminated waterways from industrial pollution and storm runoff harm local fisheries, affecting food sources for communities. Health advisories restrict the consumption of certain fish species, further limiting food options.
I am Rashetta Ozan. I am the founder, director, and CEO of the Vessel Project of Louisiana. In my community in Southwest Louisiana, there are several injustices that we're facing here, and they're all intersectional. But what's at the root of the problem is the racial injustices that we face living in a southern state. The cards have been stacked against us for so long, and now we're trying to unstack that deck to get to the bottom of the issue. We are surrounded by petrochemical and LNG facilities, which is causing pollution, which is causing complete communities to suffer with things like cancer and asthma, but these things aren't being documented. And in those same communities, they don't even have hospitals and clinics to even be treated for those issues. We have issues when it deals to social justice, because for so long, these people have been fighting for their community, but when they get to places like the city council meetings or the police jury meetings, they are shunned, they're laughed at, they're not welcome to come to these meetings and talk about the issues at hand. It's caused a lot of poverty, a lot of sickness. People have lost their homes, families have been broken up, people have moved away from the area, crime has increased, and we know that all of those things go together. It's almost impossible for one person to take on all of those things, but what I try to do is highlight all of the things that are going on here and bring more people in the movement so that we can untangle that wheel.
This is the community.
Right here.
Yes, sir.
This used to be a golf course back here.
But see, all of this, you see how it's raised up? Because all kind of stuff is buried under it, and they covered it with grass and dirt.
They got oil and gas, what now?
Under the property. Remember we was talking about the Cahoochee back there?
Right.
This is the pumping station. Mm-hmm.
The waterway is right down there.
The edge of the water back.
What's protected by the fence line?
Their house, them people that decided not to sell their house, they one lone house right next to this.
This is what in front of us.
That's English Bayou.
This is the pump.
This is the pumping station. That's the bayou right here. This is one of the estuaries where, if you've heard us say all the time, you can't eat but 2 pounds of fish. These are some of the places we're showing you where people would come and fish.
The Louisiana Department of Health and Environmental Quality has issued several fishing advisories due to the unacceptable levels of chemical contamination found in fish in their state. These contaminants include metals like mercury and lead, as well as dioxin and forever chemicals, or PFAS, which pose health risks from long-term frequent consumption. These advisories serve as a guideline on safe consumption levels of fish to help protect public health from the risks of eating contaminated fish over an extended period of time. Those most vulnerable are children, women who are pregnant or breastfeeding, along with communities who rely on fishing for trade or tourism.
So all of this used to be homes.
This is the
All
land
that
where
used to be homes?
I was born and raised in on this land.
Which way you want me to go, left or right?
To the left. My ancestors owned all 80 acres. They owned 80 acres of land, okay? All this was my ancestors' property here.
Over here?
Yes, sir. And if you take that land from
You see where you can see where there was lots with houses.
No, I'm looking and I see it. You can tell sections of...
our community. They destroyed this whole community.
I haven't seen that in the grocery store.
No, there's none over here.
There used to be old Kroger.
They used to have a Kroger right here. They shut it down. You saw the other Kroger that they shut down.
People right here died from cancer from the spill.
Here?
1983, there was 11,700 gallons of perchlorate ethylene from a faulty valve coming out of PPG, spilled in this people community and destroyed these people's land and everything. And it's an incomplete cleanup.
Get it right.
Incomplete cleanup of the chemicals. And the people is very ill still and all kinds of contamination.
A lot of people have argued, you don't live next to the industry. You don't live next to the plant. You're not affected. The plant, yes, is across the bridge, but people over here are feeling the impact. I don't know if y'all been counting how many houses is being condemned over here.
I've seen
a whole community.
I've seen, I would say maybe 70% of these houses over here.
A whole community.
Can't live, no.
And then by tearing these houses
my brother's
down,
home right here, y'all.
they
right
are
Where?
Right here. This her brother was the blue one.
The blue one?
The asbestos in his own shoes. Didn't even know. Right here, 2709.
So that was your brother's house?
Brother's home.
Wow.
Asbestos. No wonder he's suffering with it.
That's why I said
He's
the asbestos when they tear them.
These piles of debris sitting here, the chemicals are still there festering because what's happening? How is methane made? When we talk about methane pollution, doesn't it come from rotted trees and plants and carcasses? So you got all of those different chemicals in the air over here where you do have people that are still living here.
So they built the school right next to this canal.
Where it's contaminated. And them kids was trapped in that school when it flooded. This is a man-made disaster that's happening with this flooding because of how they have
They made the aqueduct.
the way they've done it.
Canals.
And these folks have to deal with that every time.
Wow.
Like you've had people have, look at these houses. Now that house wasn't that old.
Right, you can tell. You can tell that's a newer structure.
But this is what they dealing with. Area is also a depiction of how white flight happened because this area, especially in Oak Park, used to have more white people who lived in the area. But when they brought the railroad track through and they started doing that with the canals, the white folks moved further south and further north. Now when we talk about North Lake Charles and talk about the Gosport area, that's not North Lake Charles.
Okay.
Where the wealthier, whiter people moved to an area called Moss Bluff is an unincorporated area of Lake Charles. It's still considered Lake Charles. They don't have a mayor, they don't have a police department, they don't have a chief of police. But this is where the wealthier, whiter people went and built up this area with big, nice homes. And they have all the luxuries that you need for a city, several banks, the hospital, all of these things, where you skip a whole portion of a city that doesn't have it. So it goes from South Lake Charles to Moss Bluff, but you have a whole area where the black people live that's abandoned. So you can't say that the money and the infrastructure are not coming here. It's where are you putting it?
The solution that I say is to take and rebuild these communities, let these people keep their land and lease it to industries. That's what I'm saying. That's one of my biggest things.
So
they'll lease it 99 years in one dark night, and then go from generation to generation each time someone wants to build a plant.
Okay.
Some big industry in.
Okay.
Type
So
car industry or whatever. It's an industrial area, and you'll get to see it in the event.
So in essence, you're saying take this and make it a fully industrial area, but lease the land out to those who own the land already.
That's right.
Okay.
In Louisiana, in this entire state, in order to make things more equitable, we first need to make sure that people are getting the information. There are programs out there and money out there that people don't even know they qualify for because the information is not getting to the most marginalized and low-income communities. It's not just, sometimes there's a language barrier. Sometimes, people don't have cell phones or they don't have internet. So you're assuming because I posted this on the internet or there's a website, everybody doesn't have access to that. In particular, one small community here in Southwest Louisiana, where after the hurricane, their library was destroyed. That community used their library not only for books, but they used it for Wi-Fi and the internet and to get information, to get news articles. They no longer have that. So you can assume that if you put information out in one way that people are going to get that. So first you have to make sure that the information gets down to the people. Once those people get the information, have it accessible to them to where they can apply for it and have the things that they need to apply. Sometimes it's set up to where it's so much bureaucracy and red tape that by the time people cut through all that red tape, they no longer qualify, they've given up, they've died. It's so many things that happen in the process of getting the information and getting to the outcome of the information. So the system needs to be fixed and more just and more equitable for those folks who it was meant for, those people who are most marginalized. If we're going to continue to say that these are low income, BIPOC people, understanding that these are people who are living in poverty, the education system surrounding them is very low, then we have to understand that there are language barriers, there are barriers when it comes to reading, there's barriers when it comes to accessing information, and we just have to make it more equitable.
What are some of the ongoing challenges your community faces in terms of environmental resiliency and restoration?
I'm glad you asked me that. Listen, we're here today at Antioch Church, the Antioch Historic Church, where it was founded by 73 ex-slaves in 1866. Those slaves were dealing with resilience and restoration even then to create a new space for those 73 black slaves. They came out of a white congregation to begin a movement where they can worship in their own, had their own worship place, had their own place for Sunday school and for Bible study, and where they can come together to fellowship. And it grew over the years into what we have this building, this location. That was an idea of resilience, restoration. But now, with the turn of the century, our building is facing lots of struggle, lots of structural damage. And because of structural damage, we're not able to worship inside of our worship edifice as of now.
This building?
Well, this is the church. Next door is where we have the garden.
Okay.
And we're fixing this area up in here to have service. We'll have more gardens.
Yeah. These walls are here. But up there was fall. But right now it's intact. You told by a good guy. He just piece by piece it may come down.
Okay. Here's our greens.
Rain is big, God.
Yeah, we got the flowers. We got some okra, green peppers.
Right.
You need to come out here and do some wheat. But we got strawberries here.
Okay. What do you have here? Is that dandelions or something?
These were, I picked up a bag of just seeds, flower seeds for, to lure the insects in, butterflies, and hummingbirds, and bees. They seem to be doing good. We plan on, we got some wood there. We're gonna build a couple more gardens.
Okay. So y'all using reclaimed wood?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. All down there. Yeah. Pastor Carroll wants to do something with this land here.
The drugs, prostitution, people began to leave their homes because they could not afford the taxes. Of course, after they own these homes, so as a result of that, these places became food deserts. They became a place where the community, where there's no longer a community. Gentrification is now set in where people are coming back to the community, but the people that are coming back to the community don't totally look like us. It'll be a combination of those who can really live to be in this area, but at the same token, Antioch Church is here. The historic Black church, only Black church in this Black Baptist church in this community, is here to kind of help regain that focus to restoration. One thing that can be done is providing the resources that we need in order to build this community back up. We're in communication with places like Shreveport Green, also the Hope House, where we partner together, where we share information, and even the Black Church Food Security Network has helped us in terms of restoring this place. Getting the word out, talking about our church, talking about our community as we move forward. One of the things here I believe that we can begin to have a voice, to share our voice, to share our concerns about the needs that we have in this community, to restore our church, restore us back to the place where we were.
Well, this community has been plagued with also homelessness. We have a big homeless population in this area. So one of the things that we're hoping to do with the garden is to provide them an opportunity to, one, if there are some fresh fruits and vegetables that they can pick that don't necessarily have to be cooked. So giving them the opportunity to have something that's ready to eat, that's also good for them. We're doing that. And we're also just trying to empower them so that they can, like as Pastor said, that they can plant their own fruits and they can plant their own. But this can also be an area, since they don't have a home, that they can do the same and they can also be a part of this work, because it's not just for the Antioch Baptist Church, it's for the community at large.
My name is Reverend Emily Carroll. I serve as the director of Green the Church National. We sit here today at St. Mark Baptist Church, which is located in DeSoto Parish. It's the same parish that I pastor in Mansfield. And when I think of community, I think of this community, DeSoto Parish. There's a large list of challenges that we do face. We are encapsulated around various industries that deal with fracking, that deal with oil. We are encapsulated around factories that deal with chicken factories and other things, paper factories, and they are our sources of income. They are our jobs. However, with these entities bring on various types of pollution, various types of things that are not always advantageous to the community that lives here. And Mansfield, which is the biggest city up the road from here, is a community that is majority African Americans, and it does have, I believe, roughly a poverty rate of around 40%. We have challenges as it relates to restoration because we lack funding. A lot of times we have solutions, a lot of times we have resolve, a lot of times we have skill set right in our backyard, but we don't always have the funding. The founder of GTC often talks about waking up the sleeping giant that is the Black church. And the Black church is a powerful entity, and we are blessed to be sitting in a Black church that's 145 years old, that continues to be a thriving part of community. The pastor here is Willie Sharon, and the community comes out to support.
We are here today at the St. Mark Cemetery in Holly, Louisiana. We have some members and family members who also have relatives and family members that are buried. This cemetery, the church, St. Mark Church, was founded in 1878 by men who had a desire to build something, who had a desire to look forward to the future. And those men and a part of the St. Mark Church, they were landowners, on acres of land. They were entrepreneurs, business owners. They were sharecroppers, but they had a mind to do the work of the Lord. And so the church was originally here. It's moved up on the highway now, and they left this space here to bury their descendants and loved ones. And so we have Civil War vets and whatnot that were buried here. We have people out here working now who volunteer their time to come out and make sure that this cemetery is intact. And that's why we're here today.
So not only do we have Reverend Bruce Carroll, but we've got Deacon Hamilton. And as I said, I want Deacon Hamilton to introduce himself. But while we're doing that, we'll get Deacon Hamilton to also kind of tell us about the graveyard and the history of it, and as well as the history of the family and whatnot as well. Dick?
Good morning, everyone. I am Hap Hamilton. I'm a deacon at St. Mark Baptist Church, and we are at the cemetery. Some say it's community cemetery, some say it's St. Mark Baptist Church cemetery. But either way, this is the cemetery, and there is work need to be done. This morning, we got some people out here of our own trying to clean so we can get in and bury our loved ones. Every family who so desire could come out whenever they get ready and clean around their own grave site. And if not, we are here to clean the whole cemetery. And we got some fallen tombstones down, but we're not responsible for picking them up or whatnot. We don't know where all the markers are. People were buried here, and they are coming in trying to find a place where they can mark their loved one. So we hope what we're doing today will benefit this whole community.
My dad right here, he passed 40 years ago. 40 years ago this month. And so he passed away, and his sister wanted to put him in the front. All the other carols on that back row that we were talking about, and these are people who have passed away since.
Certain families had certain areas, but as Dank, well, he didn't come down here. But say what happened over the years, people just started coming in and just kind of putting them wherever.
So we're seeing fallen
yes.
marks.
Yes. Yes.
What's happening and why are they falling?
So when they put this here, these were already, they had fallen, right? And so they put this in, so we just moved them to the side till we can find some time to deal with it. But they're in this area.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's like
I'm saying
weather and time.
You have mentioned markers falling before.
Right.
What's happening? What's making the markers?
So the rain and the weather and time.
Okay.
Some of them old.
Some of them old.
But once again, the water, the wind. We worked out here last year and we came back this year after rain, wind, storm. There were markers laying on the ground.
Okay. That's what
time. Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to.
I got it.
That ground soft.
That ground soft. Yes.
Keep that water settled.
That's right. That's right.
Don't have anywhere for it to run.
Don't have anywhere for it to run. Exactly.
And even when we look at this, if you just had, even you raised the ground up in certain areas, you can have roll-off where to keep rolling down and won't flood the grave site. But in order to do that, you need resources.
So right, exactly. So we can bring in dirt that will help that. We can also run pipe.
Right.
That would under the ground that would direct water. Hey, Richard. Yeah. All right, that would direct water and stuff in our cemetery. Yeah. So all this gets wet. All this gets wet and it runs this way. There's a hole here, no water today though. No water, but it's wet here. There's a hole that's normally full with water.
Okay.
Right on? Oh, I'm in the wrong place.
Somewhere.
Okay. I thought it was right there. Yeah, because I saw that hole.
It's real.
You see the water, wet water. There it is, right there. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
And it still is raw. There it is. So green right here because the water. It stays with water. Okay.
Instead of water just come out the ground. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Because it's a natural spring.
Natural.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
I mean, it's like he knows.
Oh yeah, it's bubbling up.
Yeah, well, my grandmother's grave right here.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Always have, as far as I can remember. I mean, it's like wet right here.
Right.
You can see right here where the water, the minerals and stuff is coming up out of the ground.
Right.
That's that red that you see right there. The minerals coming up out of the ground.
When you say minerals,
Yeah.
the red we were talking about is different from the red that's not red. It's It's rust color almost.
Yeah, that's just the minerals coming up out of the ground.
Okay.
If you were per se to just dig a well right here, like they would do a long time ago, you probably have water year round. But most of the time it's wet here year round. I mean, it could be 100 degrees out here, it's still wet.
You wouldn't have to dig so far down here.
No.
Well, you can tell it's right. I mean, I'm on it.
Yeah.
I'm thinking. Yeah, you are in it. Yeah, you're on it. Yeah.
I would say maybe about 5 foot down in the ground, and the water probably starts wishing up.
So there has been some conversation about, put a well here, or either turn the water away where it can flood down. There's a creek in the back that there's a fish in, I guess, and swim in. But to turn it or shift it, or even put something out here that would preserve even the water here. But these are minerals. Yes, sir.
I'm thinking if you tap into it and make it a nice showpiece, you can make a reflection pond or whatever for your grave site, and then that's a tourist.
Yeah, and basically, like you said, but if you tap into it, it won't be so far all out. It just be
in that place.
Yeah, withheld in one, contained in one area.
Right. So I mean, to me, that seems like it's a simple fix. You just need resources.
Just need resources. Yes, sir.
Just need the resources. I do want to point out that whenever you lose a landmark, that's a story that is also gone away for that family member, but it connects them to a legacy in that family. Big Mama gravesite gone. That generation that y'all just talked about, that younger generation might not know who Big Mama is, but because she got a marker and somebody can point that out and remember, that's a culture. As black folk, we love our ancestors, and we hold tight to our big mamas and big daddies and their memories and whatnot. And when you look at places like this, it's indicative of our communities. It's indicative of how various floods and storms and displaces us in community, and we forget our culture. Each time something happens, it takes away a piece of that.
My name is Pastor Michael Faget. I am the senior pastor here at the St. Rest Baptist Church in Shreveport, Louisiana. We're living in a food desert here in the Allendale community. There is not a grocery store or really a serviceable food market within a 5-mile radius, which impacts our environment, impacts our culture, impacts our community. And so our church has tried to make efforts to make sure we do something to help bring life and bring food to the food desert we have here.
My name is Deborah Bradley, and I'm a member of St. Rest Baptist Church. If you look at this community, there's a lot of poverty in this community, of food shortages. There's no place here where they can grocery shop or even buy food if there is hunger. I would think that if we could get some stores here that can maybe have food at low price, discount food, to where they can serve themselves instead of most people over here that you see on the streets here. I see them when I pass through. They're catching the bus, going out of the neighborhoods to shop. And if you're buying a large amount of groceries, catching the bus is not ideal. So we can have something in this community where they can shop and then just walk to their homes and take it to their homes. That's one of the biggest problems I see.
My name is Charles Washington, and I'm an activist of the community. I've been gone 28 years in Louisiana State Penitentiary. Okay. I've only been home 2 years. I've been hearing some of the questions you was asking. Man, they've been a tremendous blessing to the community. It's like, if you want some rehabilitation to people that trying to change their lives, change themselves, then therefore you have to give back to the community. These people are giving back too. I'm homeless, you got several more people that are homeless. But at the same time, we don't look at it as being homeless. We look at it as God showing us a way to change. The only way that you can change is you got to accept change. Amen. I mean, that's just what they're doing. They're showing us that God is good to all of us. If we just allow them to give them an opportunity to do so.
My name is Cynthia Cason, and I represent St. Rest Baptist Church, and I'm over the youth also here at the church. Back in 2019, our outreach ministry was having a meeting, and we were trying to decide what we were going to do that year to reach out to the community. Because before, we've been going door to door, talking to the folks like that. And we wanted to do something more. We said we needed to get out of this church, get outside these walls, and touch the community in a way that we haven't done before. And so the idea came up for a garden. And the garden really is just a catalyst, It's not all about the garden. Since we've done the garden, so much has happened since then. I mean, we've adopted a family across the street because the little kids would come over when they would see us out here working. Some days I'll be out here by myself in the evenings working, and they'll come over and they'll talk to me, and we discuss different things. And so we've built a relationship, and that's what we were looking for, ways to engage the community in a way that ordinarily, if we're just coming into the church every Sunday and leaving, that's not good. God brought us here to be each other's helpers. And each one of us, in our own special way, has a way of touching somebody. Mm-hmm. You look around this community, you see a lot of poverty, you see a lot of abandoned homes, and people, a lot of times when you see that, they're hopeless. And so we want to be a way to give hope to people in any way that we can.
A lot of times we try to equate effectiveness with numbers, saying we have to reach a certain amount of things or get a certain amount of people or have a certain amount of something. But if we simply would just start and do what we can, I believe that God will bless our efforts and multiply it if we simply put our faith to feet, get on the ground and do the work and start somewhere. If everybody just had the mind to work, I believe that that will really make an impact on how we can see improvements in our environment and culture.
I'm going to throw you a fast one right here.
Okay.
How can we ensure that people are in the mindset to work? How can you put that to the people? Spread that message.
That is a good question. Realize that the work they do impacts where they live. A lot of times people don't want to work because it does not affect them. In most cases, our churches are not connected to our communities because our membership doesn't live in our communities. So if it doesn't affect them, they won't feel the need to work. But when they realize the work they do impacts them, they would get in the mindset to say, this is not just an issue that my church faces. This is an issue I face. Let me get to work so we can see change in our community.
My name is Reverend Sonia Lars. I am the pastor here at Newman United Methodist Church in Alexandria, Louisiana. I've been here for a year now, and I'm still trying to figure out some of the things that are going on in this area. As far as our state goes, we feel like we're always bouncing back from storms. We have a lot of plants in our state as well, which also gives us reasons to be concerned about our waterways. I was trying to find a nice way to put that. The chemical plants get to release things into our water, and we don't always know what those are. I grew up in Shreveport. I attended college in Baton Rouge. And so as we would make that 4-hour drive from Shreveport to Baton Rouge, we would get to certain parts of the state and we'd go, oh, that's the linseed oil factory. So you could tell where the factories were by the odors in the air. And when you got to Baton Rouge, which is very heavily populated with plants, chemical plants along the Mississippi River, when you cross from West Baton Rouge Parish into East Baton Rouge Parish, I always forget the name of the bridge. It's normally kind of a reddish color because of the chemicals in the air. They have to keep painting it over and over again, and it oxidizes. But as you pass over the Mississippi River, the smells from the chemical plants, I would always think, I'm back at Southern University, which is horrible. It's a horrible way to identify our state capital by the odors that you smell in different parts of the city. And then that's the other thing, where those plants are, they're mostly Black residents. So Southern's campus is on the north end of town, at the bend of the river. And then when you pass Southern University's campus, Exxon. It's just plant after plant after plant until you get to downtown. And so both sides of the river, you have it more heavily populated by people of color trying to live in those areas where those plants are. We do need the jobs, but I would really like to have clean air and clean water as well. It needs to be a balance on that as well. I'm recognizing that there are more people like me who are too stubborn to give up. And instead of sitting by the wayside and waiting for somebody else to fix our issues, we're getting involved and trying to figure out ways to make things happen ourselves. We're asking more questions, and we're not just allowing other people to dictate to us what should happen in the areas around us, within our state, within our cities, and we need to do that more throughout our country as well.
We are aware of our impact on our community. So if we're using solar power to power our campus, it's a great way for us not just to lower our costs, but to lower our carbon footprint in the area. And so I think when the church leads by example, it's a lot more effective than us just preaching a sermon. I can talk all day, but if you see the actions I'm taking, it makes a much bigger impact. But I think all of our buildings need to have the ability, if there is a emergency situation, for folks to be able to take a shower when we don't have that capability. I think everything was a little scaled down when things were built.
Okay. For the kitchen.
Yeah, so it's not a commercial grade kitchen. It's a warming kitchen. And I get tickled every time we're telling somebody you have the opportunity to rent our space, and they focus on it's a warming. I'm like, it's an insurance thing. Yeah, but that's okay. It's a big enough space for you to come in and do whatever it is you need to do. What's interesting, we were actually approached by 3 different entities about solar power. One of those groups was only interested in putting the solar panels on our Family Life Center. And so that we would have the ability to be a lighthouse in the community when all of these storms and things that we have come through. So we would be a place where folks could come and charge their phones, charge their medical equipment, a place they could come and cool off because, it's Louisiana, it's always hot and muggy here. But we wanted to be able to do more than just that one building. And so Green the Church has given us the ability to do our Family Life Center as well as our sanctuary and our administrative buildings. So that's going to help us, as I said earlier, to reduce our carbon footprint, and it'll give us another way to show our community that we care about the way our country is being run.
I have been fortunate. I grew up in Shreveport, Louisiana. My family is mostly in Bossier Parish. In Bossier Parish, it was more rural when I was growing up, and so it would be nothing for us to stay outside all day. Outhouses, and then there were wells. So when I say outside all day, we were outside all day. Fruit trees on the property to eat from, but I'm hesitant to do anything like that now because our water supplies are just not, I just don't feel they're as safe as they used to be. I look at my nieces and nephews and realize that they're missing out on so much that we had. The natural resources of the state. I know a lot of people who love to fish, but you gotta be careful where you fish because there might be some issues with the water. The areas that have never flooded before are flooding now because we are building in areas that we don't need to be building in. We're taking away too much of the natural habitat, and then when the alligators come across our property, we're wanting them removed. So we really have to think more about the decisions we make and how it impacts the world that we live in.
Texas faces numerous climate-related challenges due to its vast landscapes, large population, and diverse ecosystems. Heavy rainfall and storm surges from hurricanes cause severe flooding, which damages infrastructure and poses health risks from water contamination. Rising temperatures lead to more frequent heat waves impacting vulnerable populations and straining the power grid due to higher electricity demand. Additionally, the energy sector is vulnerable to extreme weather, which can disrupt energy production and distribution, as evidenced by Winter Storm Uri in 2021. This underscores the need for resilient energy infrastructure.
Hello, nice to see you again.
Hi.
How are you?
Hi. Good morning.
Good morning.
My friend
My name is Mel Caraway. I'm a retired United Methodist pastor here in the North Texas area, and I am the Interfaith Climate Coordinator for Texas Interfaith Power and Light, as well as former board member and president of the board of Texas Impact. I think the biggest challenge is that we tend to think of the issue of climate crisis and how we can be resilient in face of it. In terms of it's just climate, and it's much more than that. It's a justice issue that transcends not just climate justice, but also racial justice, economic justice. It works across the board. And until we begin to address all of these issues, we will not be able to achieve resiliency.
This is a gentleman named Ned Fritz. First Texas conservationist.
Google sorted out how to get about it. It made some announcement when I first, hit start.
So enter Esther, Environmental Commission. So that environmental task force that we started out with, we had a task force. We had, I think, 15 people on it.
So again, this fourth recommendation, I'll focus on a little bit. I think it has some impact on your congregation as well.
My name's Bea Moorhead. I'm the Executive Director of Texas Impact, which is the parent organization of Texas Interfaith Power and Light. Texas is facing the full range of resilient challenges. We've got heat and wildfires in the west. We've got flooding and extreme environmental injustice and disparities on the eastern part of the state. Here in Dallas, they're suffering from all kinds of storms that are climate related. So, from the wind to the water to the heat, we've got it covered here in Texas. One of the most challenging things, I think, for the faith community is we see the need for equity in restoration, and each individual faith community is very focused on its own particular constituency, and it's hard in that context to bring people together to work across the needs of the community. What we're really excited about our new partnership with the City of Dallas is the City of Dallas Office of Environment and Sustainability is willing to convene faith communities from across the North Texas area to work together. And I think that is the way to bring about more equitable participation and more equitable benefit, is to have that local government fulcrum that everyone can work from.
we have to understand that it's a much broader issue than just the climate crisis. We have to understand all the underlying factors that come into play, and we can become more resilient if we understand why people are living in the situations they're living, what the economic factors are, what the climate factors are, what the racial justice factors are. All of these things come into play as we seek to become more resilient.
You've had a chance to see the impactful work that the People's Justice Council and its partners are undertaking throughout the Gulf South. We are developing programs aimed at helping communities tackle economic disparities and severe climate challenges, and there is still much more work to do. To foster resilience, ensure sustainable growth, and promote environmental protection and restoration, we need increased community engagement and education. This will empower local voices to participate in the process and ensure their needs are met. Additionally, we require access to resources and funding to support individuals and families affected by economic instability and natural disasters.
I think that's an easy question. I find hope in youth. Young people today are much more aware and much more willing to acknowledge the problems that we face on an ongoing basis. They understand that these are problems they're going to have to live with for their entire lifetimes, whereas they don't have time or room for denial. They have to understand and accept what the realities of the crisis are and how to become resilient in the face of those challenges.
You know, I look at resiliency and restoration as a group sport. It's something that it takes all of us, right? It takes an understanding of the need. It takes a advocacy. It takes a willingness to apply resources. And that's something that we all can play a part in, right? And even if we don't have the resources, just being able to help out, being able to talk for our neighbors, talk for our friends, to be able to connect the dots for people, to be able to connect people, coming together is what's going to get us there, right? And we've shown that we have the capability to do that. And so I am hopeful and that we will continue or be able to get to the point that we care enough about each other to be able to do that. So yes, group sport, absolutely. That takes it's a community effort, a broader community effort.
As a Christian, the biggest hope I have is the light of the world. And any project that has a spark of light to it gives me hope. So these programs around solar, or these programs around living water, clean water, or these programs around restoring the earth and making all things new, they give me hope. And they push me to work harder for my community. So I hope that in our conversations and our coming together, in our interactions, that we're not only sparking ideas, but we're going to bring literal light to communities in need. We're going to bring clean water. We're going to bring fresh air to breathe, and we're going to restore the land for the sake of all neighbors.
I think the thing that gives me the most hope is working with really innovative people and having them go and watching them and seeing it happen and helping in any way I can, to going from we have a bad problem, but we have a solution of our own, and getting what they need to be able to implement that solution and seeing them become an example for others. That gives me seriously a lot of hope.
I'm extremely hopeful because the more we do this work, the more we find that there are others who are engaged in this work, and they are extremely concerned about the impact on human beings wherever they might be, particularly in the Gulf Coast. As the climate changes and the temperatures increase in the summertime, and we get more and more threats of catastrophic storms, hurricanes, and tornadoes, we find that there are greater opportunities for us in the church and clergy community to work with other grassroots organizations to be able to spread the word about the work that is being done, about the need to build in resiliency in communities that are least able to tackle these challenges on their own. One of the greatest assets that we have in the church community is the fact that we reach multiple generations and multiple cultural and ethnic backgrounds, and so using that gift, that opportunity to reach all of those different constituencies really gives me a lot of hope and excitement for this environmental movement.
So my hope comes from the fact of how we as spiritual leaders come together and we use our pulpit, we use the resources that we have to make sure that we speak into the lives of our communities, and so that they can look at our situation from a different perspective and they can work with fortitude, strength of the mind to realize that the setback is only a setup for something greater.
You know, one of the things that gives me hope is actually when we start to unpack the multitude of small actions that individuals are going to need to take to make the community resilient and restored. There's something for everybody, and I think if the more that we can cling to that information and really help people understand wherever you are, whatever your skill sets, knowledge, resources are, there's a way that you can help. I think that gives me hope, and it gives other people hope too. The other thing that's really important about that for me is often people have the idea that government is going to come in with big solutions and that somehow those big solutions are effectively monolithic. They're going to kind of come in and lay the fix on everybody. In real life, the way it happens is where those solutions come from is the advocacy of people who have lived experience. The more that people can have the experience of helping, of working, of making positive change in their local immediate context, the more empowered they feel to help legislators and lawmakers develop policy solutions.
My hope, first of all, is in my faith to believe that we are overcomers by nature. Secondly, I believe that in order for us to overcome the challenges that we faced, is to look at the history of all the other things that we've overcome. This was not the first hurricane, nor will it be the last, but the ability of the mindsets of the people to still survive. I believe that we're going to overcome the challenge by becoming community and being the you in the unity part. I believe that we are going to systematically draw people in where they are. And I believe that we can overcome any challenge that we've ever experienced as long as we become one.
Number one, God is faithful. And because God is faithful, that always gives us hope. And number two, God always uses his people to enact change. So even when we've seen the worst of things, God knows how to take a remnant, rebuild, and use it for his glory. So knowing that there's still opportunities for us to make impacts, to make changes, to impact lives and improve our community, that gives me hope to know that we can make a change, we can do the work because God is faithful and he's never failed us yet.
I'm Southern, and I'm proud to be Southern, just as I'm proud to be black. And so, in being proud to be Southern, I grew up in the South knowing how the South acts, how the South responds. I know the South. I can go up north and spend time up north, but I know the South, and this is home for me. And in the South, y'all, there was a time when we could leave our doors open. I see some of y'all shaking y'all head. Some of y'all ain't, y'all too young, y'all. I get it. There was a time when you knew who your next door neighbor was by name. And not only did you know them by name, you knew their families. And the families knew the families. Some of the families married and the tree just started going like this. Everybody started intermarrying because there was this closeness in community. What happened? What happened? Let me go on further with my ecumenical restoration. When I ask what happened, you don't have to answer. I give you the answer. There was a breakdown not only in community, but there was a breakdown in the church. There was a breakdown in the church. We became so caught up in our own individualism that we forgot about community. And so everybody comes into the house of worship, and then they go back home. Nobody spends any time with each other. Nobody don't know what's going on in the community at all. We want to restore that, where our congregations, our houses of worship become beacons again for our community. They become sources of information. Not only sources of information, but they also become sources of restoration for our communities. Because who better to lead that than those who are supposed to speak to our communities and our faith? Because at the end of the day, it's all about community. I'm gonna say that again because I don't think you heard me the way that y'all needed to hear me. I need you to feel me when I say that. It's all about community. We cannot survive alone.
We must forge strong collaborations and partnerships among government entities, businesses, and nonprofits across states, municipalities, and organizations throughout the Gulf South, focusing on sharing resources, knowledge, and best practices for resilience-building initiatives. Together, we can cultivate stronger, more resilient communities capable of withstanding and adapting to the challenges brought on by climate change and economic disparities. This comprehensive approach not only safeguards the environment and infrastructure, but also empowers communities to thrive and prosper. This is how we will transition from resilience to restoration together.